Hello, Barry Rogers here, and it's Sunday morning. I've got a ton of work to do, but I just wanted to share this with you. If you're watching this video, you probably, like me, just a few days ago bought Easy Software Maker, which is the new product from Andy Brocklehurst. Now, I've been starting to make my first product with it over the last couple of days, and it will probably be launched as a WSO very, very soon. But what I feel is that if you're going to make a product like this, it's really great to make it look the business. You know, when people open it up, first impressions count, and it's nice that it would be great if you've got a higher perceived value when they open the product up. It looks really like the business. Now, I found a very quick and easy way of making a fantastic background for your software, and quick, easy, and free. Okay, and if you follow along with this video, you'll be able to make all kinds of really professional looking backgrounds and pages for the software. Okay, so without any further ado, let me get into it. And the first thing I'm going to do is bring up Photoshop. And you're all thinking, well, you know, that's hardly free. It costs a fortune. But Adobe are giving away their older version of Photoshop, which is, I think, about 6 or 7 years old. It's got every tool that you need in there. And they're giving it away for free, completely legitimate. You can get it for free and set it up. So I'll put a link to that later in the video. But here it is. I'm on a 6-year-old, 7-year-old laptop on the kitchen table. So if you hear kids shouting and dogs barking, you'll know what's happening. Okay, so this is a really old laptop, and I'm running this Photoshop now. Straight off, you're going to need some of these windows open, and you do that by clicking on Windows, and we've got Character, which is this one, which is very useful to have open. Layers, which is this one, and don't worry about the technical side, we're going to do that in a minute. Navigator, this one, and Tools, this one. Okay, okay, it sounds technical, and people say, "Oh, Photoshop is very difficult." It's not. What we're going to do now is really, really easy. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is when you open your software maker, you see here the window size, and we're going to keep it at this resolution, 800 by 600. But you know, that is including the bits and pieces of the skin of the software. So we need to make a background if we don't want scroll bars, which is about the right size. So we're going to start a new project here, and we're going to say the width is 780 and the height is 520, and that's about the visible area of the screen in the software. So we get this blank template now. The first thing we're going to need to do is to create a new layer. So we'll come down into layers down here, and we click on that, and that will create a layer. It's called layer 2. What we're going to do is going to put a little background on here to make it look nice. So it's transparent at the moment. So we click on this foreground color, and I'm going to pick a nice deep red. Okay, something like that. Now we're going to pick the background color where that white is. So you click on that white square there, and a little dropper appears, so you can choose which color. So I'm going to choose the foreground color, and then slide that up and make it a little bit lighter. Okay. About there. Okay, so we've got a foreground and a background. Then we click on this tool, which is a gradient tool. And when you click on that, and when you put it over there, you'll see a little crosshairs. And stick it in the middle somewhere around here, right at the top, and draw a line down. You just left click, hold the mouse button down, and draw a line down to the bottom of the page. Okay, then when you release the button, it's added a gradient. You see it's darker at the top and lighter at the bottom. So that gives a really nice overall effect. Now, the next thing we want to do, maybe we want to have a kind of headline up here. So we're going to click another layer. Layer 3 has appeared. And we're going to click text. Okay, we're into Homer. So what we need to do now is just to drag up this character thing. And we're going to choose another color for our text. So let's just call it white. And we'll click on here, and our new project. Help if I could type, wouldn't it? Our new product, and you can highlight that, and you see here the pixels, you can just slide them to make them bigger, and you can move it around like this wherever you want it. Okay, that's a great thing about Photoshop. So let's stick it over here in the center. If you wanted to, you could put an image in here, and I'll show you how to do that later. If you wanted to make a proper, like a banner here, you could have the text over here and an image over here, for example. I'll show you how to make that later. Now the next thing we're going to do, normally if we're making a dashboard page, we'll want some buttons on here to click onto the different pages in our software. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make some buttons. We're not going to do that in Photoshop because, you know, it'll take quite a bit of time, and I've got an easier, free way of doing it. And what you do is you go to dabbuttonfactory.com. Okay, and look, this is what you get. Style, rounded box, perfect. It's just what I want. Background color. Well, I don't like this blue. It's not going to look good against the red, so I'm going to make a kind of silvery button. So I'm going to drag that up there and have that just off-white like that, and I'm going to click OK. Then the bottom color I'm going to make a little bit darker grey. You see how it's gradiented there? It looks really good. Okay, so I've got like a silvery kind of button going on. Okay, now I can choose the different gradient. I can have it like that, or I can have it like that. That's quite nice, actually. I like that one. Okay, now over this side we just type our text. Step 1, click here, and if we click outside of there, it's put it in for us. Okay, I'm going to leave that like that, and I'm going to pause the video and download it. You would make, while you're at it, you download that, then you make another one saying step 2, whatever it is you're having on your button. Okay, so I'm going to just pause the video for a second. Okay, so I've downloaded our button, and now I just need to put it on here. So what I do is I go to File and down to Place. Okay, now I've saved the button in the folder. There it is. I just click on it, and it will put it into this document. Now I can drag it around where I want it. So I can resize it if I want to, make it a little bit bigger like that. And then when I click that, it'll ask me if I want to place it. Yes, I do. So there's our first button. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, what you normally do in this folder, you'd have several buttons. So I'm going to just pretend that I have. I'm going to just position that where I want it, and now what I'm going to do is pause the video again, and I'm just going to duplicate this one in there because I only made the one button. But you would do the same procedure with all of your buttons, okay, and you just move them around so they look good. So I'm going to pause the video and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so I've put the same button over and over again, but you can see it's starting to look a little bit more professional now. One thing I will want to do with these is I would want to put some drop shadow on them. So let's take this one. You see each one is a different layer. Okay, so that one's highlighted, which is that one. If you go down here and go to that F button and then go to drop shadow, you'll be able to see it's automatically put some shadow behind that, and we're going to leave default settings, and now you can see that looks really quite neat. I'm going to pause the video and just do it for all of them because I think it looks better. Now I can also put some drop shadow on this text up here, and all I do is to double click that, go to F, drop shadow, and it's put some on for me, so it's standing out from the background. Okay, now all we need is something at the bottom here to give some instructions. So let's put some more text in. So what we'll do is we'll create a new layer there, text, and we'll put click on the buttons to go to each page. Now that's gone a bit large, I don't want it like that, so I'm going to highlight it all, bring this character up again, and here just all I'm doing is left clicking the mouse and dragging it. You can set it like with this if you like, but that's a quick way of doing it. Okay, so let's get that in the center, and let's give it a different color. What color should we make it? What will look good against a green maybe? How does that look? Oh, that's not so bad. And we'll give it a little bit of drop shadow as well, just make it stand out. Okay, so we have, I'm sure you'll agree, the makings of quite a nice little dashboard. Okay, especially if it had a proper headline of an image or two up here, it would really look quite smart. One thing we could do is on this layer here, on the background, if you wanted to, you could stylize that a little bit. If you go to F and gradient overlay, sorry, pattern overlay, not gradient overlay, pattern overlay, this ugly thing will come up here, don't worry about that. What we're going to do is get rid of that. We'll look at some, that's it, texture fill. Let's have a look what we've got here. That's a nice one. Now if we just take out the opacity there, you can see how that has now got texture behind it, and you know that kind of looks good. Different ones here, it doesn't really matter. I'm just demonstrating how you can make a textured background there just by taking that right the way down there, and then you can choose all these different styles here, and there's loads of different ones that you can choose from. There's another one. Okay, get the idea. So you know, you can choose a nice textured background if you want one. I'm going to stick with that for now. Okay, so we've still got that different colour going down, but it's given it a little bit more texture in the background. Okay, so I'm going to leave that as it is. Okay, it's a good idea to save this as a Photoshop document right now, and we're going to call it background, or we'll call it dashboard. Okay, so that's saved. So now we've got our image, we need to make it into an HTML, and we do that by slicing it. Now, it sounds complicated, but it's not. Okay, we go to View, Show, and make sure it says Show Slices. Okay, and then we pick this tool here, which is the Slice tool. We click that, and the first thing we're going to do is we know that these are all going to be buttons, so we want those to be individual elements rather than an image. So we just drag this tool around there and it will highlight them like this. So we keep doing this for each one of them, and these are all slices made now. Very, very simple to do. Now we might want one for this headline here. We might want to make that a headline, so we'll do that like that, and we'll make this like a footer down here like that. Okay, and so we could change these things if we want to. Now if you double click on that, it will bring up some important information. You can have image or a table. Okay, we're going to keep it as an image in this, but a table will mean that you can alter the text and stuff in your editor. You won't need to do that in this case, so we're not going to bother. Now one last slice that we're going to make is one of the whole area, and then we just right click, and we send it to the back so we can see all of our slices. Okay, now we're ready to save it. So what we're going to do is go to File and go down here to Save for Web. Click on Save for Web and it opens up this window. You can see all of our slices here. One or two things that you just need to check. Okay, if you go over here, there's a little arrow here. Click on that and Output Settings. Now you want it to be HTML. Okay, default setting HTML here. Okay, and we're going to go OK, and then we click Save, and you need to make sure that this save as type is HTML and images. Okay, and we'll call it dashboard again, and we'll save it into the same folder. So we click Save, and you can see here it is saving it and it's done. Okay, so if we go back into our folder now, all of a sudden we've got an HTML file, and if we open up that images, we've got all the images for it here. Okay, so that's done. Next I'm going to just insert this into our software. So I'll pause the video and get that sorted out. So we're not quite finished. Before we can add it to the software, there's one or two little changes that we've got to make. Now, in our folder, I've made a new folder called software, and that's where I'm going to build the software to. But first of all, I'm going to copy the images and paste them into that folder. Okay, so the images are already there, and that'll take a second. There we are. Now what we've got to do is we've got to add something to this HTML. So just very simply open it with Notepad. Don't worry about all this. We're going to just make an edit and replace. Now we want to find where it says images / and instead we want to replace it with square bracket pub dir square bracket / images / okay. Then we just click replace all, and you see that it's replaced all of them, and that just tells this software where to pull the images from. So we're done with that now. We just save it and close it. Okay, so we're in our software now. We've kept the window size as that. I've called it tester, and I've put the output folder to that software folder that I've just created, and the output file name is tester. So I'm going to add a page now, and this is going to be dashboard. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab that HTML that we've just edited. I shouldn't have closed it really. Open with Notepad, and just do select all and copy. Come back over here and copy that and paste that into there. Okay, and save. Okay, now I'm just going to do, so we've got that dashboard page saved. I'm just going to go build software. I'm not going to save the project, and we'll wait for it to build. Okay, so it's built. Open location. Now, all being well, when we open this up, it should have our nice background. I think that's looking pretty good. There's a little bit of a scroll there, but nothing too much. We could have just adapted that slightly better, but that's looking pretty professional. Now, obviously, before we did this, before we made this page, we would just need to open up this HTML page in Composer or Dreamweaver and just make these buttons hyperlinked to where we wanted them to lead. Okay, so that's what we would have done before uploading it putting it into the software. But I wanted to show how it displayed, so I haven't done that. So these aren't actually live links, but that's a simple job to do in your HTML editor of choice. Okay, so hope that's useful for you. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your software projects that you create with Easy Software Maker.